Yo, what's going on, guys? Jay here, and welcome to this week's episode of the Talking Hip Hop Show. This is going to be an episode that I will be bringing to Spotify and YouTube. Yes, I would say a good portion of my episodes, at least for now, will be Spotify exclusive, just because for new music roundups and stuff like that, I'm not going to record it and do a whole video. But this, I'm recording right now, so this should be up on YouTube by Thursday. You guys will be seeing it. But yeah, I hope you guys are all doing well in the wake of the election results. I hope everyone's hanging in there, striving and hoping for the best. I know this has been a stressful time. This has been a time that is, a lot of people are very worried. A lot of people are nervous. And to be fair, there is definitely, there are some worries to be had, especially for our women in the United States, our marginalized groups in the States. A lot of the rhetoric that our new president used during their campaign was very violent, discriminatory, hateful, and other things of that nature. And the most we can do for now is hope that it's not going to be as bad as he says it was. I don't think it's possible that it could be as bad as he says it was with all the things that were said, even with the red team controlling the House, the Senate, the SCOTUS, and the presidency. Yes, I understand that personally, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like it doesn't have me worried, but I'm just trying to keep the most positive mindset about it. I just can't imagine it's going to be as bad as people are predicting. It might be bad for the environment for sure if he actually goes through and demolishes all of the progress we made towards making climate change not as big of a problem. If that could be bad, and a lot of other stuff could definitely be bad, but for right now, keeping my head on my shoulders, and I hope you guys can do the same. I hope, you know what I mean? Just keep your head up. It could only be so bad. And whatever happens, we will get through this together. But yeah, been a little busy recently. I feel like going forward, we might see a little dial back in terms of the content frequency. I am trying my best, but I recently started a new job. I recently took up a new internship, so that will be taking up more of my time. It has been recently, especially with the influx of new music that dropped last week as well. If you follow me on the gram at talking.hiphop, I'm trying to get out as much content as I can about all those albums. I haven't even done it for any of them. The Chromacopia ones I got recorded. I'm saving them for my review. But I still got to talk about You Only Die ones, Bravado and Intimo, Perfect Fantasy, Still Praying. And that content will come. It will. It's just going to take some time, especially now with Soulburger and Daryl being out too. Got some catching up to do. And I promise that it will happen. But yeah, also going away with the girlfriend this weekend. Very excited about that. But that also means there will not be a lot of new content. But you have this to look forward to, or this coming out at least. I just, the other day, a podcast dropped with True Love Music, Love of Vibes Entertainment, my guy Dan. Be sure to go over to his Instagram, to his Spotify, and check that out. Me and him chopped it up and talked about our Grammy predictions. Just our thoughts on the Grammy nominations as a whole. So if you want to see an in-depth conversation about that with me and with Dan, with what will end up being the most accurate predictions, guys, I got a feeling that I got them right. So be sure to go check that out. See what I had to say. I'm also posting little reactions on my Instagram as well. Like I said, talking.hiphop. But what else was I going to say in this little introduction? Oh, just some upcoming stuff on the YouTube as well. Be sure to check out the YouTube. I got some great video essays there. Listen, if you're bored, I would really recommend going through my back catalog. I got a great video about essentially how rage music became what it was. You know what I mean? I hope that video gets some of the love it deserves over time, because when I put that out like a year ago, put a lot of effort into that. And when you look at how even more popular rage music has gotten, I think I did a great analysis of it. Not to toot my own horn, but there is quality content out there. Not just that same old shit, but yeah, upcoming stuff. Chromacopia review, of course. Some of you guys might be like, why is this taking so long? And It's because, like I've been saying, I want to give this as much detail as possible, as much attention as possible. And part of that is for this review, I'm going in depth. I'll give you a little sneak preview of what to expect because I'm getting heady with it. I'm getting very nerdy with it. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm going to keep it a buck right now. But I think the biggest thing with the album, the biggest thing I could say about it is that Tyler is owning himself, the good, the bad, the positive, the negative, his quirks, his vices, his just everything. Tyler is owning himself honestly and truthfully. So I've kind of narrowed down 6-7 main themes that run throughout the album, and I'm kind of just going through and analyzing all the lyrics. So for each song, when I end up doing my review, and for the whole album, I will have a little like pie chart type thing breaking down which themes he actually talks into the most, and I will explain to you guys how these themes run through the album and how Tyler is broadcasting this portrait of himself to you and how he views himself essentially. I thought it would be a unique, fun, again, heady and nerdy thing to do for sure. Definitely nerdy. That's why it's taking a little longer. But I hope something that you guys will find enjoying, something to look forward to. I'm also doing a review for Freddie Gibbs' new album, You Only Die Once, because I really like that. As well as other videos that have been in the works for a while. Samurai review. I'm doing a tier list of Travis Scott and Young Thug collabs. Maybe we'll get a new one before then. Man, I could only hope. I'm sure you guys all saw Thug in the studio with Future, Lil Baby, and Travis Scott. Man, that shit made my heart happy. That made my heart happy to see essentially like the best trap rappers in the game all linked up, working on some music, celebrating the freedom of Jeffrey Williams. And also another upcoming video that I'm very excited to do. Again, it's gonna be a while. Like you just heard, I'm pretty busy right now. I wear a lot of hats in my life. This is very important to me, what I'm doing right now. This connection that I'm trying to build. This stuff I have to say, this does mean a lot to me. But I also wear the hat of son, brother, friend, student, boyfriend, intern, employee, athlete. I try my best to keep it all balanced, but I'm sure a lot of you guys understand. I'm obviously everyone has their own stuff that they're balancing in their life. I'm just trying my best to keep it all together. And yeah, part of that is maybe a little less content coming out, but that's okay. That's okay, because the content will always be quality, as you can tell with this Chroma review. But yeah, oh my god, I'm really rambling right now, guys. My bad. Let me get this out the way real quick. The other video I'm working on is going to be kind of a breakdown of the popular rap landscape, because we're at a point in time where there is less than 10 superstars in hip-hop. There's less than 10 hip-hop superstars right now, and I'm kind of going to break down what I think of to be the hierarchy of hip-hop popularity by going through album sales, hit singles, all that type of stuff. I'm going to break it all down and talk to you about the current landscape of mainstream hip-hop, and essentially my theory that since hip-hop has more artists than ever, the ability for an artist to become popular has kind of become harder than ever because of how diluted it is. I don't mean diluted as in like there's bad stuff in it. I just mean that there's so much that it's so hard to keep your eye on everything. So the stuff that is super popular becomes super popular, but other stuff kind of gets lost in the shuffle because there's only so much one person can listen to and consume. And the average person does not listen to music like you or like I do, where they're trying to listen to as much as possible. Also, my interview with Jaking the Divine should be upcoming within the coming weeks. I've been talking about it's a lot of stuff I've been promising you guys for a while. Trust me, it's coming. But anyways, last week on my story, I put my IG story talking about hip-hop. Go follow that, guys. I'm plugging hard right now. But yeah, I posted and I said, give me your top 5 albums of the year. Give me your top 5 albums of the year, and I will come up with a consolidated list, and we'll talk about it. So first of all, thank you to everyone who participated. Each and every one of you, I appreciate you. Thank you. There was a lot more response than I expected, and that means the world to me because I was able to put together a pretty consolidated list. We got a top 10, and there was a lot of submissions. We got like maybe 20, 25 different albums, which is a lot when we're talking about album of the year. You know what I mean? Especially considering most of it's in the hip-hop space, so I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you. But yeah, we're going to go through the top 10 and some other albums that I thought were interesting. I appreciated being mentioned, whatever. But yeah, starting off at number 10, we actually have one of two albums that made this list that I haven't fully listened to. And at number 10, we got Rich Ass Haitian by Makami. Now, I do have to apologize that I haven't heard. This is kind of embarrassing for me that the first one coming off of this, I have not heard before. In full. I've heard the song, Rich Ass Haitian, with K Tronada and O3 Garrido, and I think that is a great song, super fun, all that. And yeah, I really just need to listen to this. Apparently, I didn't realize people, like, Makami is someone who I've respected. I've heard albums by him, Pray for Haiti, Balance Show. Balance Show is a great album. But I just, you know what I mean? When this came out, it slipped past me, and I haven't really gone back to it. I've been seeing it getting the love, the appreciation. And this is making it even more obvious that I owe it that listen. As the end of the year comes, we are in November, as it comes to making end-of-the-year content, I will be listening to re-listening to a lot of albums from this year, listening to a lot of new ones. Like, for example, Auditorium Volume 1 by Common and P. Rock. That got the Grammy nod. That also got a couple mentions by people. I need to listen to that because I haven't heard it. So, but yeah, I think it's very cool that Makami, only Griselda member to get a mention here, by the way. The big three did drop. Rome dropped, Ransom dropped, and I mean a mention in the top 10. But even in the total list that I received, the only one that got mentioned was Still Praying. No love for Slant Face Killa as a top 5 album of the year. No love for Everybody Can Go by Benny the Butcher as a top 5 album of the year. And honestly, I'm not surprised. They won't be touching. Those are great albums. Those are all great albums. But Griselda really had some dominance. Again, if you follow me on Instagram or on YouTube and you watch the YouTube shorts, because my reels and YouTube shorts are the same thing. But I've been doing my top 5 albums of every year. 2020, I'd Pray for Paris, Burden of Proof, and From King to a God, all in there. So a little bit of a fall off for Griselda, quality-wise, where they used to be. But yeah, moving on to number 9. Let me pull this up real quick, because this is an album that I do like, but I haven't listened to in a while. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Oh my God. Damn, sorry. I'm sorry that you had to hear that. I haven't listened to this album really since it came out. I don't revisit it very often, or any tracks from it either. Not because I don't like it, just because it didn't stick out to me like that. Like, this is an album that's great, but didn't have much replay value. Great replay value when I heard it. That is Why Laud by No Worries and Anderson .Paak. I love Anderson .Paak. This album, like I said, it's good. It's fun. This is number 9. I know a lot of people have a lot of love for this album. It's a cool rap R&B mixture. Very great, vibrant, lush production. Some of my favorite tracks here, 86 Central, Move On, Where I Go with Her, Daydreaming as well is great. And, yeah, that's about all the songs here that I revisit. Safe to say, if you can't tell, this album probably won't make my top 10 of the year. But it is great. It is great. And also, just to keep you guys updated on what I'm planning, I will do a top 10 albums of the year video/podcast, kind of like what I'm doing now, where the video won't be really any different than the podcast. Maybe I'll go through and edit it depending on, add some stuff. But we'll see about that. Because I'm not straight up. The last video I made into a podcast, I went through, edited, take some moments out. I put some pictures up. I'm not doing that this time around just because time, honestly. Just that takes time. And honestly, the fact that I'm recording this is a lazy video to keep my every week upload streak up. But yeah, I'm not going through and editing the video. You guys can see I did get a haircut. You won't see it on the Instagram probably for a week, just with the content I have stockpiled. But yeah, it's all right. I think it's pretty good. But yeah. Anyways, but I will be doing a big fat tier list, as I always do, probably close to an hour long. Gonna get it to over 100 albums. That's why I'm gonna go through, listen to some others. And if you have not tapped in with my YouTube, I got the 2023 and the 2022 album tier list. 2021 album tier list will be next. And I'm just going to go backwards from there, to be honest. I'm going to space those out by probably like anywhere between 3 and 6 months. But I will just keep doing that because tier lists are tier lists, you know. Number 8, this is the other album this is one I haven't heard in full. Like, I haven't sat down and listened to this, but I've heard a lot of it because, like, I will admit, actually, I said this already, shit, so this isn't me admitting anything. I do have a girlfriend. This is the one pop album that got several nods. There was also some love for Hit Me Hard and Soft by Billie Eilish, which I like that album. I don't think it's top 10 worthy, but someone else did. But this is Brat by Charlie XCX. This album has obviously been getting a lot of love this year, from the Fantano praise that really sent the internet into a spiral. Just in general, this album has been championed by the internet. Big year for Charlie XCX, so shout out to her. The songs I have heard on here, like 365, Apple, 360, probably several other ones I've just heard before, but you know what I mean? Don't know that because it was just in a social setting. Good, fun, house type beat. Oh, I hate that I just said that. I apologize. But, sorry, I had to do a quick stretch. Maybe I should go and edit that out of the video. I'm not actually, but I apologize for that. I had to see the next stretch. Hold on. All right. I'm holding my mic now, so I don't have to, like, sit so weird. Yeah, I don't have a lot to say about this just because I haven't heard it, so I'm not going to sit here and talk out my ass about Charlie XCX. What I have heard has been fun. Haven't heard this album in full. But number 7 is probably going to make my top 10. I'm going to give you guys some, not spoilers, but just give you where I'm at with all these albums, how good I think they are, how close I think they will be to cracking my end of the year list, all that stuff. But number 7 is, again, in the best, I think it'll crack top 10, but my favorite album of the year, this is a top 2 and it ain't 2. King of the Mischievous South by Denzel Curry, anybody? This is genuinely one of the most fun albums to come out this year. I love that this got some love because lyric-wise, it's not all the way there. They say it's more or less a trap album. This is a trap album. Denzel Curry makes trap albums every now and again, like Zoo, coming out the Zoo. But yeah, I don't even know where to start because I will say I do have a full review on this project on my YouTube if you want to see me get deep with it. But yeah, this is a beautiful ode to like late 90s, early 2000s Memphis, trap, Memphis, horrorcore, I guess. You know, that 3-6 Mafia, that Project Pat, all the other stuff in that subgenre. You know, Chunk Up the Deuce, that song, UGK's from Houston. But yeah, you get what I'm saying. It's that dirty South trap. This is like an ode to that, from the interludes on here, which is narrated by Kingpin Skinny Pimp, to all the features on here, to the like gritty, high-paced production. Not to mention the very simplistic lyricism from Denzel, but he's still giving you quality bars, quality punchlines, incredible flows, hard-hitting instrumentals. Like, this is just a fun... And we don't even have the full version of this album yet. There's a deluxe coming out at the end of this week, which I'm super excited for. It had the single Still in the Paint come out already with BK the Ruler and Laser Dim 700. I think that track's a banger, and I'm really excited to hear the other new tracks. But even just the, regular edition of this album is amazing. There's only 2 tracks that I guess I don't really like. There's only 2 tracks that I would say that I don't love. Yeah. And that's Set It with Max O'Cream. And that's just because Max O'Cream, honestly, was a really simple verse. Like, not one of his best. I feel like that's got one of the more calmer productions. And Hit the Floor by Denzel and Ski Mask, which is, honestly, I hate to say it, it's honestly just a mess. I would love to say there's no misses on this track, but no, that Ski Mask verse is not good. The Ski Mask verse is just not good. Like, let's be honest. The beats, And yeah, my favorite tracks, sorry, the AirPods hurt in my ear a little bit. Fuck. Cole Pimp with Ty Dolla $ign and Juicy J, I think is a great, change of pace for this very much, Like, I listen to this album when I run. This is a big running album for me, big gym album. And Cold Pimp is, like, the only track I'll really skip because it's just not, like, high energy like that. It's got a very, like, luxurious sample. Well, it's, like, high energy, but it's not, like, fast-paced. It's a bit slower. Denzel's verse is great. Ty Dolla $ign is a very smooth, sensual hook. And, yeah, incredible hypnotic instrumental. One of the best tracks here. I love the new version of Sked with Project Pat on it. You get to see some people that Denzel Curry is paying homage to. Make an appearance on this project, which I think is nice. I like Wishlist by Denzel Curry, of course. Fuck me. And, excuse me now. Featuring Armani White. I like that track a lot. I feel like it's underrated. I'm about to just name every track that I didn't name before, because this album just bangs front to back. It's a quick listen, and it's just every track is just a burst of energy from everyone on it. G's Up goes hard in the gym. Hot One with Tia Corinne and A$AP Ferg. Man, when that song first dropped, I knew we were in for something special. Hypnotic instrumental that bangs, that goes hard. Great chorus from Denzel Curry. Again, very simplistic in terms of the lyricism and bars, but it still is so fun. And then you get super memorable verses from both Tia Corinne and A$AP Ferg. I feel like a lot of people don't like the Tia Corinne performance. You're just hating. I'm just going to be honest. I really like the Tia Corinne verse. I love the swagger she brings to the track. Very unique. And one of my favorite tracks of the year. Expect this in my Spotify rap. Black Flag Freestyle with that Mexican OT. Come on, banger, one of the bangers of the year right here. Like, on some real shit, this instrumental is just so hard. It loops. It's great. It is great. And then the chorus, Denzel's best chorus, maybe of his career. It's just so catchy. You're getting great, clever bars. That Mexican OT brings us super energetic. He's letting his personality shine through as well on his performance. Man, oh my God. Earlier this week, maybe I was doing a reel, and my girlfriend called me out for how much I said super in it. I was talking about go check out one of my Eternal Take. Wait, was it Eternal Take? I don't even remember, but she was like, you just said super as an adjective like 6 times. Like, you need to find a new word. And I was like, yeah. Yeah. I definitely did. That was bad. But yeah, that's number 7. Man, I could talk about this album all day. Really one of my favorites. Now, number 6, let me look this up real quick, get the track list up. Since I'm recording this on my phone, normally when I do the podcast, I use my phone to look at the albums, right? That's like kind of my typical go-to. Yeah, that's my typical go-to. But since I'm recording this video on my phone, hey phone, now I got to look this up on my computer. I'm sorry, I'm just I'm just like stupid sometimes. But yeah. Yeah, number 6, we got it up. You Only Die Once. Now, I think You Will Only Die Once could easily be a shoo-in for my top 10 of the year. Honestly. I'm going to say that a couple of times. But honestly, I think this is probably a top 5 Freddie Gibbs album. I think it's early. Man, I hate saying all this because it's still fucking early. Like, honestly, I feel like the fact that this made it to number 6 is in part recency bias. Let's be honest. Now, I'm not saying you guys who submitted in particular. Shout out to my community. I'm not saying you guys are the recency bias, but in general, like in the mainstream music scene, the mainstream bias or the recency bias among fans is nuts. It's nuts. So I'm just surprised, you know what I mean? What did this sell first week? I'm interested in that. You Only Die Once first week sales. Well, that's not it. That's just the reviews for it. This information might not be out. Yeah, this information might not be out yet, guys. I'm just going to be honest. But I will look up sold separately. I feel like Freddie Gibbs is probably a 20K first week artist. All right, here's the first week album projections. From 22,000. Okay, that he might not have ended up selling that much because it was projections, but confirms my theory. Anyways, God, I ramble sometimes. I apologize. Um, this album is amazing. Like, just straight up, Professor Sky's record review did a great review on this project. I'm gonna be honest. Fantano's, I also watched his. Man, I'm not the biggest fan, because I said this on my Instagram story. Everyone who says that Freddie Gibbs needs to work with one of the best producers in the game to rap good, just shut the fuck up. Like, honestly, just respectfully, shut the fuck up. Because, like, you're wrong. Like, yeah, his top three maybe will forever be Pinata, Alfredo, Bandana. I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna pretend like that's not the reality of the situation. But, man, stop acting like Freddie ain't shit without them. Freddie Gibbs may have the best discography in the active hip-hop landscape right now. Of every artist that dropped in 2024, he might have the best active discography. Now, I know people are going to come in and say, what about Kendrick? What about Tyler? They don't have over 10 albums out. Okay? We're in a different category. You know what I mean? You could say A$AP Rocky has the best discography out. He has 4 albums. Cardi has such a great discography. Comparing that to comparing people like legends like Nas and Jay-Z, who, you know, have like 14 albums in their career, Freddie Gibbs, who will likely touch that level, it's different. It's different. You know what I mean? I don't know if Kendrick Lamar will ever drop 14 albums in his career. He might take the Outkast route. And, you know, that's tactical and stuff, but we gotta respect Freddie Gibbs for his output, seriously. But, yeah, some of my favorite tricks here, Cosmo Freestyle, Rabbit Island, and then It's Your Anniversary. Steel Doors, Walk It Off, Origami. Man, I'm not going to get too deep because I am going to review this on YouTube within the coming weeks, so be sure to check that out when I do, you know. Hey, make sure to tap into that. I don't want to give it all, but Freddie Gibbs is, like, kind of vulnerable here, kind of not. He talks a lot. It's interesting because he talks a lot about, on this album, at points about how he hides his insecurities behind misogyny and behind drugs and behind this gangster persona. And that's, like, some of the content on this album. And then some of the content on this album is, like, the drugs and gangsta persona and the misogyny as well. So it kind of creates this weird, where, like, I think Freddie Gibbs is doing a great job of being vulnerable on this album, at least for his standards. But this isn't like a Mr. Morale, a Melt My Eyes, a Chromacopia type of situation. This isn't a 444 type of situation. Because he's, like, halfway there. He's admitting this stuff about himself, admitting that he's afraid of, you know, getting caught for things he's done in his past, and that those things will come back to bite him. That's a lot of this thing. Freddie Gibbs is fighting his demons here and trying to outrun his past. That's a lot of what's going on here. Freddie's trying to outrun his past because he doesn't know. He doesn't think he will. You know what I mean? He has a lot of anxiety around that. We saw that on Soul Separately, which kind of, like, also had Freddie Gibbs, that last album had brief moments of the paranoia and anxiety around it, and then mostly the hiding that stuff with misogyny, drugs, and the gangster persona. Now, here is probably more like a 50, maybe even a 60-40 split, where, like, 60% of the albums, Freddie's being honest. He's getting socially conscious. He's, like, letting you into his thoughts about himself, his thoughts about society. He's talking his shit, his thoughts about the music world. And then 40% is Freddie Gibbs being the Freddie Gibbs we know and love, which is he's a gangster, he's a thug, he's fucking, he's drugging, he's peddling drugs, like. So I wonder if this is, like, a gradual build to Freddie Gibbs fully pulling down the mask, or I wonder if this is the closest we're going to get. But regardless, I know some people, and I don't want to say it's a point of criticism that he didn't, you know, that he does do these things, even though he calls it out as the flaw, because I think it's like, shows the fact that Freddie Gibbs is, like, reluctant to give that side of himself up because he's seen so much success with it and he's gotten so far with it, and it's really, like, that is kind of his image. You know what I mean? The gangsta guy, Gangsta Gibbs. He's Gangsta Gibbs, so Yeah, Fantana was critical of that, and he said it created a weird, not weird vibe, but he said that it was weird how he was calling that out, or how Freddie acknowledged that was a vice of his, how he hid behind it, but also did it. But I think it shows that Freddie Gibbs he's scared of what's going to happen if he doesn't give it up, but he's also scared too. He lives in this weird land in between the vulnerability that he shows, but as well as letting go of the image that he built up. And I think that in itself is actually a cool and a really interesting thing about this album. The not necessarily dichotomy, but the way this album goes back and forth, where you see Freddie Gibbs wanting, being afraid of his gangsta persona catching up to him, being afraid of something bad, essentially being paranoid. Freddie Gibbs has been paranoid for a couple albums now, but that really shines through here. But also, I think he crushes on it because. But I think he crushes on it because that's where he feels the safest as well. When you look at the success he's gotten in the music industry, it is because of Gangsta Gibbs. But yeah, these next 5 I'm gonna go through a little quicker because I've been yapping and I apologize for that. But yeah, number 5. She's such a freak. Excuse that voice crack. Bad and freaky, yeah. It's not We Still Don't Trust You, but it's We Don't Trust You. Which, honestly, this might be crazy, but I agree. I think We Don't Trust You might be a top 5 lock for me. One of the most successful albums of the year is also one of the best albums of the year. And I know some people might be like, oh, you're gassing it. You know what I mean? How could you say that this is better than this album? This is a trap album. But honestly, this is one of the best trap albums of the decade. I think... Man, and I was talking about recency bias before. This take might get me smoked, but I mean made fun of online when I say that. I think this is top 3 Future. I think that this is top 3 Future. So, I'm going to let you guys sit with that one for a second. But I will say it again. I think that this is top 3 Future. Talking about people with large discographies, Future is definitely one of them. But I mean, the first 9 tracks on this, if you remove Claustrophobic, might be the best track run in a trap album ever. Claustrophobic isn't good, but I mean the bangers you get from We Don't Trust You to Cinderella. It's really crazy. It's not even been seen before. Like, on some real shit, it's not even been seen before. And yeah, the latter half of this album, you know what I mean, going on from there, I guess the second half, you could say, is a little bit weaker. Running Out of Time is good. Fried She a Vibe, Ain't No Love is good, but I don't revisit it that much. Everyday Hustle is great. GTA is great. Seen It All good, but I don't revisit that much. Same with What the Fuck You Mean. Where My Twin At? People hate on that song, but I like it. I like it a lot. I think it's a fun, lighthearted banger. And I want to see Thug remix that now that they're free. I want to see you know what I mean? I want to see Thug come on the string and be like, where my twin at? Anyway. Yeah. I'm just saying, if you don't have this in your top 5 of the year, you might be bugging. Top 10 minimum. Some of the, bangers that will be listened to for years to come when it comes to, that type shit. Ice Attack, We Don't Trust You, Young Metro, Slimed In. Oh, my own is slimed in. Magic Don Juan, Princess Diana, Diamonds in She. Oh. Okay. Future really snapped. Future snapped on this one. So did Metro, of course, too. Not to slay Metro, but they snapped together. Excuse me, man. I apologize to my YouTube viewers right now because my camera is shaking so much. You got to understand that my camera is sitting on top of my computer. My laptop is open right now, and this is just leaning on the wall on top of the top half of my laptop, on top of the monitor for it. I don't have a PC, a big PC, so, this is a laptop. And this is on, my flimsy-ass desk. I'm just shaking it right now. You could see that. Oh, man. Off topic again. Let's just go to the next one, because I do have a review on YouTube of We Don't Trust You. So if you want to, again, hear me get deep with that, go check it there. and I'll talk about it in my top 10 albums of the year. I promise you that. Now, we had an album from, in my opinion, actually, hold on. I'm going to take a sip of water. Sorry about that, guys. I also apologize. I keep apologizing to my YouTube viewers if there ends up being any of you. But yeah, I'm not editing this. I just feasible, time-wise, it's just not worth it. I need video editing. Anytime I'm working on a video going forward, it has to be on the Chromacopia review. Because listen, I probably have 8 more hours worth of work to put into that. I'm just scratching the surface. So anyways, I Lay Down My Life for You by JPEG Mafia. What I was going to say with this is from an artist that I think is chronically overrated. Just genuinely, I see people online say JPEG Mafia might be the best artist out right now. And it's bro, no, he's not. And I always say JPEG Mafia is not the best rapper. JPEG Mafia is not the best lyricist. And I'll tell you one thing. He is here. This is his best album. Just honestly, this is his best album, in my opinion. I think it's pretty easily his best album. Just because this is the most robust, this is the most replayable one, while also being one of the most experimental. The use of sampling here, the production here is amazing. And this is another criticism I always have for JPEG, or I guess JPEG fans, I should say, but is that when artists get experimental, some people think that just because something is experimental is that it inherently means it's better than stuff that isn't that experimental. Now, I always respect experimentation. Without experimentation, we wouldn't have the evolution of music. So it is important, but I don't think it makes it inherently better. So when I see people glaze the shit out of JPEG, I'm like, you're just saying this because it's different. And being different is always better, but being different doesn't, just on the basis of being different, doesn't make you inherently better. It doesn't make JPEG's music inherently better. But here, he's really finally bridged that gap of being able to be experimental. And, this is the best he's ever sounded. This is the best he's ever sounded, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Sometimes he would make beats that were experimental on Veteran, and I would listen to it, and I'd be like, wow, this one's ass. Or you know what I mean, his broken up song structure. It's something different, but sometimes I'd be like, wow, this isn't good. But here, it is all perfect. I just love this. I really do like this album. I'm going to read, this is, a lot of these albums I'll revisit, but for the end of the year, this is one I'm actually really excited to. My favorite tracks, New Black History with Vince Staples, great. Ex-Military might be the best JPEG Mafia's ever rapped. I mean, that's the one with the Wu-Tang sample, right? I forget, fuck me, man, because I forget the name of the beat that he samples here from RZA, but it's one of the best usages of sample all year, if not the best. And it's also for JPEG's best rapping, from which Jihad Joe is a banger. JPEG Ultra with Denzel Curry. Whew. Also a banger. This is a robust Denzel Curry feature as well. A lot of personality seeping through, and that's part of what makes it so amazing. Super fun track. And that's, you know what I mean? When I listen to this album and I say that it's amazing, I don't feel like I'm forcing myself to say that. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you listen to an album and it is amazing, but you don't listen to it at all really after. And you have to tout that it's amazing because it's amazing. But it doesn't. This has the replay value. This has me coming back, especially to another one of the best tracks of the year. Either On or Off the Drugs. Oh my God. The sample here is so pretty, so perfect, so beautiful, so serene, pristine. Oh my God, is it clean? I mean, this is incredible. This is really incredible, this song. And Peggy's rapping, this is one of his most topically focused tracks ever, and it's so amazing. It's JPEG Mafia grappling with self, grappling with himself, grappling with trying to figure himself out, understand who he is, why he does the things he does, how he is, who he is, all these beautiful things. That's a song that I could see myself just breaking down in the future, because to me, it hits home. It hits me so hard. It hits me deep in my feels. Like, that is a personal track to me. But yeah, I said I was gonna go slower for these last few. Like, bro, I'm dragging it. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I'm dragging it, but yeah. Number three is Dark Times by Vince Staples. Now, I will say this is another one I want to quickly look up how much it sold first week. Dark Times first week sales. Whoa. There isn't much information about the first week sales. Well, that's nice. Again, I imagine this is in the 15 to 20K. Anyways, 3 annotated covers. What does this mean? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm really getting sidetracked. Now, Vince Staples is one of the best, just one of the best albums. I mean, Vince Staples is one of the best rappers in the game. He is really an unsung hero of rap right now. He is a top 10 rapper in the game right now. He is a top 10 discography in the game right now. He has like 6 albums that are arguably all 8s, which is a big deal. I know some people really like to rate things willy-nilly and say, you know what I mean? They'll have the Juice WRLD will have 4 8s to them, or a Lil Baby will have 4 8s, and Lil Baby has an 8. But having an 8 is a big deal to me. You know what I mean? Have it, like, not just anybody gets an 8. Even if you're a great rapper, not just anyone gets an 8. But this album, man, just Vince Staples as a whole he really is so good at world building. Like, honestly, it's something he's underratedly, like, good at. He really lets you in here. There's so much talk about vulnerability in hip hop right now, and this is an album that's one of those examples where Vince is really letting you in. Best songs here: Black and Blue, Government Cheese, Shame on the Devil, Etouffee, Justin, Nothing Matter. Like, here, Vince Staples is really taking you through the downsides and into the psyche of, like, a Long Beach player gangsta, which is him. He's really giving you that, like, that side of him, growing up, being gang adjacent, growing up, being poor and not in the best financial situation. Although he said before that he never thought he was poor growing up until he, which is, Vince Staples is a great guy, just all around, because you love to see that he appreciated the situation he was in, even if it wasn't, even if it wasn't the best, even if it was dangerous and whatever. But, the way he talks about how his parents worked hard for him, it's a special thing. Vince is a special guy, and here he is able to speak on he's able to talk about his experience with, again, like, gang culture and stuff like that, and extrapolate it kind of, as a whole. It's in the ghetto on a Martian, crash landed in a dirty ass apartment. I long for loving in a fit. Like, Vince Staples is blunt here. That's always, everyone says he's so funny. That's why he's funny, because he's blunt. And here he's blunt in his music in a very, very just special way. Dark Times is great. I feel like I've said this before, I think Vince Staples, the self-titled album, Ramona Park Broke My Heart, and Dark Times, I think they're kind of a trilogy. I think they all go hand in hand together. I think they're all in conversation with each other, and I think they all kind of tell the story of Vince Staples, but through different lenses. Like, I don't know, I feel like the Vince Staples itself is more so about him. Ramona Park is more so about kind of like the place he grew up and how it affected him. Because there are, you know what I mean? There's like brutally honest moments and songs in that track list, some of his best ever. But there's also a lot of like upbeat, just West Coast flavored tracks. And I think that's a lot more about his conditions, the conditions that made him. And I think Dark Times is about the mental health effects of growing up and being how he did and who he is. Like, this might be a good one. Let me know if this analogy makes sense, but like Vince Staples' self-titled is The Who, Ramona Park, Breaks My Heart is The Where, and then you mix those together, and I feel like Dark Times kind of elaborates on both those things and shows like the product. Vince Staples' music in general, there's so much never love a bitch, I can't trust a bitch. Like, he really does it. Like, Vince Staples is an underrated misogynist. You know what I mean? He's always talking about how women cannot be trusted and he would never love a woman. But then that's why Shame on the Devil is one of my favorite tracks from him ever, because here he like talks about how hard it is for him to connect and maybe where it kind of seems like maybe the misogyny is self-rooted, that he can't trust himself either because he just doesn't trust anyone. He don't trust anyone but his mother, is what I've gathered from his music. But anyways, this is, Dark Times is great. Dark Times is great. I think it's well deserved of this number 3 spot, and I would recommend listening to it if you haven't already. Number 2, we're going to talk again about the term recency bias, because Chromacopia is a top 10 lock for me. I don't know if this is going to make my top 5, but my top 10, definitely. And this is where I struggle with it, with the recency bias fact of it, because I don't know if I'm putting this over Dark Times, to be honest. I think I need to re-listen to Dark Times and sit with this album for a little longer as well before I fully make the decision. And this one I'm going to refrain from talking about too much. I talked about it on my pod last week. I got a review coming up that I hope everyone in the world tunes into. I hope all 8 billion of us watch that video. It would mean a lot to me. Water break. Sorry about that. Yeah, this album is amazing. Check out my review or check out my last podcast if you want to hear me talk about it. Because right now I'm going to save it. Also because this is going pretty late. And I wanted to talk about another album that I reviewed before. So, again, if you want to hear me get real deep with this one, go to my YouTube and find the Blue Lips review. Because this one, man, this is still my album of the year too, man. I can't lie. This is still my album of the year. So it made me happy to see this one. It makes me happy to see Schoolboy Q really get his flowers. For a rapper who is, again, criminally underrated. What a year for the criminally underrated rappers when it comes to Q, when it comes to Vince, when it comes to Denzel, when it comes to new artists breaking on the scene like Doechii, when it comes to, Lupe Fiasco, who I'll get to in a little bit. There was one more, Ab-Soul, who just dropped. And Tyler, the Creator, is not criminally underrated, but the fact that his new album has made a lot of people on the internet, Anthony Fantano, Professor Sky's record review, Justin Hunt, all these people discussed Tyler, the Creator, as a viable member of the Big Three, just shows that he was underrated to a degree, that he wasn't being appreciated fully to the level that he deserved. So we can talk about it. We could talk about the year that this has been for underrated rappers coming through and putting out amazing albums. So like I said, I have a review on this album. I talk about how this album is like kind of like a balancing act where you have Q doing two things really, where he's still touting his gangsta, a reputation, but he's also getting vulnerable, and he's balancing all these different parts of his personality, him being a gangster from Compton, him being a father, him being someone who is having trouble finding a relationship, him being or having been addicted to drugs, him being a rapper who hasn't dropped in like 5 years. Like, there's a lot going on here, and This is not a rare instance, but sometimes in rap, and Tyler did this very well too. Sometimes rappers tackle too many things on one track list, and it really holds them back. But no, not Vince Staples, Schoolboy Q here does a great job of being able to discuss everything on his mind and all that. He does a great job of being able to discuss everything on his mind and all that. Well, also, like, maintaining the image that he had before as this super gangsta West Coast guy, while also not letting the points get lost. He does a great job of keeping that thread that goes through it. You know what I mean? There's no moments here that are like, everything feels earned, everything feels necessary. And even though it's all over the place at points, it all feels cohesive, coherent, and part of the same body of work. Because some rappers do that, and then you have moments. And, oh man, this is really a criticism I had for Kendrick Lamar, where there are moments of Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers that just don't feel like they belong in that world at all. But everything here feels necessary. Even a track like Back in Love with Devin Malik, it's just an upbeat banger, and there's some upbeat trap bangers here. And this one's just about him being back in love with this shit, which the shit, I assume, is making music. He does a great job of balancing bangers with deep cuts. You know, when you go from, like, Yearn 101 to a track like Germany 86, like, this is an album that got something for everyone, but also this album works best when you listen to it in full all the way through. And it shows you how Q is still the same. He's giving off the same persona he always has at points, but is also really letting you into the psyche of who he is now, and not in this super, like, personable, vulnerable type of way, but more so like a here's what's going on in my life, like catching up with an old friend. You know, you catch up with an old friend over a drink, and it's like you're not getting deep into the grits, like, again, to bring on Mr. Morale talking about your infidelity addiction, but it's more so like, you know, again, the themes of being a father, the themes of his relationship with his mother, the themes of just growing up and being a retired gangsta. And, you know, he's just catching up with you. And I love that. I love, like, the almost casual nature of that, but also how deep it goes and how much there is. So Schoolboy Q is also very appreciative of his life and everything he has here, which, again, is just great themes. You love to see that perpetuated. And Blue Lips is still my album of the year right now. I challenge you to find me a better one. A couple of albums I wanted to talk about that did get some love from you guys. And again, thank you to everybody who participated in this. It means a lot to me, genuinely. Thank you for being able to allow me to make this video, this podcast. It means the world, and I hope you guys all are happy with how the list came out. But yeah, some albums I want to talk about. Ultra 85 by Logic got some love. This was a great album this year, and I just wanted to shout it out because it was great. I haven't revisited it a lot, but yeah, like Logic, he's really been killing it with his very, just a great lyricism and rapping. He did say he wants to make a Playboi Carti-styled album next year, which honestly is going to be terrible. I'm sorry. No, you know what? I take it back. I'm sorry for putting that out there, Logic. I hope it's as good as it can be, but I'm just not a big fan of Rage. Also, Samurai got some mentions by Lupe Fiasco. That's a top 10 lock for me, maybe even top 5. Please Don't Cry by Rhapsody got some mentions, and I think it deserved that. Surprisingly, no one said Alligator Bites Never Heal. That might be a top 5 for me. I mean, a top 10 lock for me. Two of the best albums to come out this year, genuinely. I'm glad both of these very well-rounded, versatile rappers are getting their respect with some Grammy nods. That means a lot to me. And also, Love the Ominous World by Blue and Exile, also one of the best albums to come out this year. That's a top 10er for me, and just proof of the West Coast being up. Blue and Exile, pretty low-key, so if you haven't heard that album, go listen to it. I highly recommend it. But that's all I got for you guys. Be sure to leave a comment, leave 5 stars, and let me know what you think of this list. Let me know what your album of the year is. I appreciate all of you tuning in, and I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all healthy, active, and keeping your head up as we enter the cold season. It is seasonal depression time, at least where I'm from. So keep yourself busy. Get some. I'm sure you all have plenty to be thankful for in your life in terms of your relationship with family, friends, everyone around you. And man, if you guys ever need something, you can always hit me up. I'm here. My DMs are always open. But I appreciate you guys, as I always say. Wishing you nothing but the best. And I will tune in with you guys next week. Be sure to keep your eyes open for the Chromacopia review. Deuces.